Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special edition of the Ringer NBA podcast. We got an incredible guest for you guys. 10-year NBA vet. He's the Celtics lead color analyst. He's also got a show on Sirius XM called The Starting Lineup. My man, Brian Scalabrine, welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you on, man, because I do watch a decent amount of Celtics on League Pass, so I do catch you guys' broadcasts. I appreciate what you guys do. I feel like you guys give some actually good analysis. I'm not going to lie. We got the NBA on the line here, but I'm not afraid to say it. Some of these homers, man, and some of these markets be killing me. I be having to mute these pads, Scal. But y'all, man, you guys entertain the hell out of me. So
you know what? I catch a few strays here in Boston because I'm an NBA fan. Like, of course, do I want my Celtics to win? Of course, man. Yeah. I like these guys. I ride on the team playing with them and all that stuff. But, the other night I'm watching Cade Cunningham. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm watching Malik Beasley, right? And I like this. Like, Malik Beasley, people thought, like, how did the Bucks give up on him? He's in Detroit. Right. He's loving it. He's playing the air guitar. He's doing his thing. So, I'm a homer. I'm not going to say I'm not. But I do respect the game, and I like when you see great performances. And, I've been fortunate this year because, the Celtics have that target on their back because they're the defending champs. We travel really well. There's a lot of people that can't even afford tickets here, so they go down to Charlotte. They go to Detroit to watch a game. And so, that can create like a little environment in the NBA. But, no, I thought, and, the idea the other night, Detroit, they won 7 in a row. And you're wondering, are they for real? And they showed it the other night. Like, they beat the Celtics by 20 and kind of dominated that game outside of the one stretch where we hit like 10 threes in the second quarter. So I'm gonna say when I see other teams or other players, I'm gonna gas those guys up.
I love that. Absolutely. It comes through when you're watching that you guys have an appreciation for the game. But I do want to talk about the Celtics-Cavs matchup, just for the listeners so that they know. We're recording this on the day of, hours before Celtics and Cavs face off. Obviously, the two top teams in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs have basically surprised everybody. I knew they were going to have a good season. This has blown me out of the freaking water. But I'm not going to lie, man. I still don't think matchup-wise this is a problem for the Celtics, particularly because of the styles. Obviously, you were at the previous 3 games. What did you notice when watching those games?
All right. So the Cavs have a super high floor. Like, they can play awful. They can beat you by 7 or 8, right? When you're playing, because there's a lot of times in the NBA where you can, like, we've lost, like the Celtics have lost some of those games to Chicago and stuff like that, right? So, but the Cavs, they seem to take care of business against those teams. Their defense is pretty good. Allen and Mobley at the rim can erase a lot of mistakes that happen. Their shooting is a great equalizer for the NBA right now. If you can bang down threes, they sort of make what we call the sacrificial cut. They'll cut for, one guy will cut from the wing to open up a corner 3-point shot. And they do that at a high clip, right? So I just think they're going to have a really good record. They get after it defensively, but I think it's more about Mobley and Allen than it is about those other guys, even though those other guys do guard. But the thing that really separates—
You mean it's not about Darius Garland and not one of the least—
No, I'm not trying to hate on those guys defensively. They're all right. But I just think, like, having 2 bigs rotating at the rim is a problem. So and then let's just first touch on the addition of DeAndre Hunter. Has been great for them. Karis LeVert is a great offensive player, but defensively, he's nowhere near where DeAndre Hunter is. And everyone's in that arms race to get the bodies to guard Tatum and Brown. And for the Cavs, that's a great addition for them. Now, I think the key to their team is Mobley. I look at Mobley as an all-time great player already. I know that he's not there yet. But I just look at him. It's like, I've been around Garnett, Al Horford. I've been around some of these, like, elite, got a little bit of Chris Bosh in him when he was really good. Yeah. So I just see him as an all-time great player that just doesn't know it yet. And I talked to Darius Garland at All-Star Weekend about this. And he's like, yeah, we tell him every day that you're that dude. And like, if we're going to win, it's because of you and what you can do offensively and defensively. But if you seen Mobley and his personality, he just is not there yet. But he had a really terrible game against us in Cleveland. I think the next night he had like a 35-13 game and dominated, right? So those steps are going to happen with Mobley. But to me, he is truly the key to that team. If he could be effective for them both ends of the floor, then the Cavs have a chance to beat the Celtics, not only now, but in a series. But it's just, how much are we expecting Mobley to grow, as a course of this season and into the playoffs?
So when I think about, the matchup and why I think the Cavs have problems, because I think the reason why the Celtics, obviously the offense was incredible in the playoffs, but to me, realistically, it was the defense that really cemented the championship for them. And a lot of that was Jayson Tatum being able to guard centers oftentimes. Like they're switching everything. They're never guarding a pick and roll conventionally. Tatum's ability to guard, Lively and Gafford and those guys not having any credibility in the post, even when a wing is guarding them, is what I think unlocked their defense. And I think if the Cavs are going to do anything, freaking Evan Mobley is going to have to beat up Jayson Tatum when he gets a switch, beat up Jaylen Brown down low, put fouls on him, make the Celtics have to play a different kind of pick and roll coverage or, decide to guard the screens differently. And also I think guys like Garland and Mitchell, they got to be able to attack Al Horford, who I think is the weak link on the defense, but most teams just can't do it. He's good enough that most teams can't exploit what he does. And I'm just not sure that the Cavs are quite there yet, or even Mobley, who he's shown a more willingness to beat up on little guys when they switch on him in a way that he just didn't last year. I think he kind of discovered it against the Magic a little bit, and then he had his moments against the Celtics, but I don't know that he's quite there yet to where, Joe Mazzulla's like, all right, we can't switch Tatum and Brown onto this guy when we're guarding them in our pick and roll coverage.
Yeah, you know what? Your analyst of Jayson Tatum's versatility, like you're looking at it like, listen, Tatum can guard a big, but like if you're talking to a coach thinks that's an absolute nightmare because Tatum can switch off on a big. Like you cannot expose our best player. You can't wear out our best player. You can't use any of that stuff to slow down our best player. And that's a true gift. There's not a lot of best players that could guard Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, right? And that's why like when you talk about Jayson Tatum, you must have a real true appreciation for him because you understand how much pressure that takes off our defense. The fact that we don't have to guard around Jayson Tatum, right? But that's like also a reason why he's so great. Yet people don't recognize his greatness because that could be ignored because he's just a guy that holds his ground and contests the shot and turns around and rebounds it. It's not a steal. It's not a block shot. It's not anything but great position and rebounding, right? But that's a valuable commodity for our team. And Brown falls under that same category. You can't back him down. He could switch off onto a true big and keep him off the glass. So that defensive versatility for us is really, it's what makes us great. It's why we won the championship, and it's why I think that we're still favored to win the championship. But that's why I think you're seeing it the same way I do. That's why it all falls onto Evan Mobley. If he drops 36 on post-ups against Tatum,
they got to change the defense. You don't know if
he's capable of or not, but if he did, it's a real problem for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I want to talk about Tatum a little bit, man, more because I think he's having his best season ever. I think he's like become the fully actualized version of himself. And what I mean by that is like, I was one of these people kind of critical of Tatum early on. I was a bit annoyed. Remember, he was like 19 years old for 4 years in a row. And oh my God, Tatum, look what he did. Remember when he dunked on LeBron? Oh my God, Tatum. And I'm like, look, this guy is in love with his freaking step back 19 foot long too. He's in love with his Kobe impression. Sometimes when he's driving, he gets tunnel vision. A lot of times he refuses to drive at all. Like I had so many problems with Jayson Tatum's game sort of early on. But the fact of the matter is, in 2025, the guy has no freaking weaknesses. Okay. Yeah. He is an incredible distributor now. He refuses to let little guys guard him anymore. He will just tell these guys, space out, we 5 out. If they send any help, I'm going to spray it to you, but if not, I'm going to punish these little guys when they try to put him on him. And, like he puts his head down when he has to. Obviously, the three ball wasn't falling last playoffs, but it is now. I just think he's never been as great as he's been now. I want to know what it's like to have a front row seat of this guy, be coming into his own as the player that he is today.
Yeah, best basketball of his career, and it's the efficiency and simplicity at which he plays. But a lot of that has to coincide with touches, right? We don't. I would have loved if I could hit the way back, right, and go and see. Well, what if we never signed Kyrie? What if we never signed Kemba? What if it really came down to this? The more touches Tatum gets, the more calm plays he makes. But back in the day, when you're talking, when you were not loving him, you had everyone fighting for shots. So when he got the ball, you think he's thinking, I got to get off this ball? No, he's not thinking that. Right now, he touches the ball with I'm starting the offense, or I'm starting the play that bends the defense 50, 60, sometimes 70 times. He ain't tripping over 2 shots. You know what I mean? He's not tripping over, all right, you got it. I'm going to throw the ball to, hear me out, Luke Cornett. You make the right play. I got this. Here you go. And Luke Cornett hits Drew Holiday, who never has the ball in his hands, playing the dunker spot. So it's just like, it takes massive maturity to get to that point. But what if like 4 years ago, we just gave the ball to Tatum and Brown and said, you know what? We're going to take some lumps, but y'all the dudes, right? The rest of you guys, and Brad said this early on, we have Tatum and Brown. The rest of you guys got to figure it out, right? That's it. You guys got to figure out how you'll play off of these stars. We're going to find players. This is why we traded Kemba to Oklahoma City for Al Horford, that are going to accentuate Tatum and Brown. But that conversation should have happened maybe 4 years ago. And
Brad's a better GM than Danny Ainge. I'm not afraid to say it. Actually brought the championship back.
Wait, hold on. I got to fight that.
What happened?
No. It's a combination of both. Brad is trading Garnett and Pierce for unprotected rights to swaps with the Nets. All-time legendary players, trading them a year or two early. He might not do that. And without doing that, we're not in this position right now. Now, Brad is the guy that got us over the hump by going out there and getting Derek White, which everyone could have gotten. They didn't go after. We all listen, I don't know, you and I don't know if you have kids or don't have kids, we all would have made the Drew Holiday trade. Come on.
Yes.
Drew Holiday.
What about the Porzingis deal? That wasn't popular at the time.
No, it was not popular because of Marcus Smart, but he knew it. He said, I need Tatum and Brown to get more touches, right? There's this stat going around with star players. Like, you give a dude that wants to score 30 possessions, he takes 18 shots. But if you give him 50 possessions, he takes 20 shots. You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the more touches you get, the more you're like, it's all right. You got it. All good. Right? So Brad recognized that and been like, you know what? I love Marcus Smart. He could do X, Y, and Z, does everything. But he's ultimately just taking possessions away from Tatum and Brown. We want Tatum and Brown to be the guy. And that's the thing I was on for a long time. I was like, we don't need a point guard. We need those two. Everyone's like, who are we going to trade for? No. We need those two guys to be high assist guys. And in the NBA Finals, those two guys had a game.
Tatum was incredible.
Just 3 years ago, hey, how much money you want to bet? I got Tatum and Brown having 19 assists in the NBA Finals.
Crazy. No shot.
Hell no, right? Hell no. But they did that. That's like massive maturity, but that comes with giving them a lot of responsibility.
Listen, Tatum couldn't hit the ocean from the Titanic last year in the finals and in the playoffs broadly, but his playmaking made all the difference. He kept every single defense honest. They could not, sort of cheat in how they were guarding him because he kept making the right play over and over and over again. And I think he deserves a lot of love for that. Like, I understand why people are like, oh, he didn't win the Finals MVP, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was the best player on the team. I think you're an idiot if you think otherwise.
Yeah. So consistent worker. And I think it was a real gift, to be honest with you, for him and the Boston Celtic fans, or probably the idea that he got benched last year in the Olympics. Like, how much of a rude awakening was that when you won a gold medal and you've outplayed LeBron and you've outplayed KD and you've won those matchups, and now all of a sudden Steve Kerr is giving you DMPs. So my understanding is he went to the Olympics, didn't play a lot of hoop between the finals and the Olympics, and he was trying to get back into it. But after the whole debacle with the Olympics, which he was a good dude and all that stuff during the time, my understanding is he worked harder than he's ever worked in any offseason this offseason. And he almost felt like the disrespect that he got for the finals. And you remember, these star players, man, if they're motivated and they want to prove something, it's really scary for the rest of the NBA. I think we're seeing this right now with Luka Doncic. Like, that's got to sting a little bit, the way Dallas got rid of Luka. And we might actually find a motivated Luka Doncic. That might be the new thing moving forward. But you want to motivate star players, that's going to put a fire under those guys. And if they can continue that, now maybe for Luka in the season, it's going to be tough, but it'd be interesting to see what this offseason looks like. But I know for a fact, talking to the people around Tatum, that this was his best summer after the Olympics. The work that he put in, the focus, he changed his shot a little bit, a little less hitchy, a little bit smoother. He gets it off a lot easier, a little higher arc. So he's did some things. You're talking about a guy who won a championship, top all-NBA player, made some adjustments to his game, and then backed it up with the work. So I think he's in that perfect mode where he's in his prime. He's got something to prove to everybody. He didn't win conference finals MVP or finals MVP last year. So you got a star player that has something to prove, and that's why I think you're getting what you're getting from him this year.
Payton Prichard has been one of my favorite guys to watch on the Celtics this year because he is just freaking relentless. He's taking guys one-on-one off the dribble to the basket. That's just not something this guy did previously in his career. Like, if he's even got an ounce of daylight, that thing is getting fired. He just wasn't playing that way. Is that a Joe Mazzulla thing? Is that his teammates encouraging him? How does he just become this ultra aggressive guy that just quite frankly didn't exist in previous seasons?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. He's a little nuts. Nah, dude, I'm telling you, and I don't think that this is like false bravado or anything. I think this is true. I need to get him on a polygraph. I think that'd be a great segment if I can get him 20 minutes on a polygraph. And the questions would just be, are you better than, according to you, are you better than Steph Curry? Yes. Are you better than Isaiah Thomas, the old Isaiah from the Pistons?
Yeah, Zeke.
Yes. Yeah. Steady line. I'm telling you, you got to have a conversation. It's the most wild. Like, he believes it completely. And I know, listen, I've been around the most delusional people. I've been in the NBA for 11 years. And I know I've been around some of the most delusional people in my life. I don't know if those guys always believed it. But I'm telling you right now, I think he thinks he's better than Steph Curry. I love that. I think if you asked him for real on a polygraph, I think that he would say, I'm better than Steph. And I don't think it would be lying in his mind. And that is how he does it.
Yeah, and I think it makes, like, the record probably won't show, but I think this team is way better than last year's team because of, one, just the sort of championship equity that you just gain, and that confidence that you gain having done it together as a group, just knowing that you have it within you to come through in crucial moments. They just have a better understanding of how they want to attack teams. And two, like somebody like Payton Prichard, where like last year, I feel like defenses could kind of exhale when he had the ball.
Sure.
You could exhale when he was running things. You could exhale because, if you had a good ball pressure point guard, he would have problems with these ball pressure guys. This year, it's not a break. Like when Prichard has the rock or when it's coming his way, the defense needs to be panicked because this guy has the ability to kill people.
Yeah, it's twofold too, because this is also the exact same reason why Jaylen Brown won conference finals MVP and finals MVP. When Prichard drives, you've seen him, he kind of takes that veer step into the guy and takes his time, right? He's not rushing. He don't shoot a floater. He's playing off 2 feet at the rim because everyone's worried about White and Holiday, Porzingis, Tatum. They're not leaving those guys. Jaylen Brown's doing the same thing. He's not like cracking people off the dribble like that. He's basically just like backing you down in a more athletic way, coming to a jump stop a la Jimmy Butler, pivoting around. He's got a nasty fadeaway, but he also could just like beast you right at the rim. So that's the problem. That is the true problem of why it's hard to beat the Celtics. Like, let's take our boy Evan Mobley, who we were talking about earlier. If Evan Mobley has to worry about Porzingis, Jaylen Brown has Darius Garland on him, and he's playing off 2 feet at the 3 foot mark. Like, that's a tough matchup right there. And Kenny Atkinson is like, if I double team, I'm screwed with a 3-point shot. And that 1-3 can turn to 10 just like that. So you're in these weird situations, and Prichard has taken advantage of that, and Brown has, where they just go to the basket, they jump stop, everyone is hugged out on the shooting, and then they get a layup out of it. And coaches are not overreacting to that because they're that afraid of the 3-point shot.
Yeah, so I'm out in LA. Don't get out to Boston much, which means, obviously I don't spend as much time with the team. But from afar, man, I'm always asking myself, what the hell is up with Joe Mazzulla? Like, how much of it is shtick? How much of it is just how he actually is? Some of it, I feel like he's in on the joke now with some of the answers that he's given the media. What is up with this dude, man?
I'll tell you what. You might think he's putting like extra sauce on it. I actually think he's only like 33% all in. There's 66.6% more there that you're going to find out after we keep stacking up these championships. You'll find out. You think he's weird now? Wait till we win a few more. And by the way, the players embrace the whole thing. They love it. Man, I went to their practice facility the other day, and there's all these lines on the court that I'm like, what the hell are those lines? It's not just a normal basketball court. It's like all kinds of weird stuff, but it gets results. And the key is, and I saw this the other day, did you happen to see the Miami game where Tatum just dominated?
Yes, I did.
Hit his chest like that, right? And I was like, it wasn't false. He's had some false screams in the past. He's had some real ones. But this was legit. And Joe Mazzulla called him out at the end of the first quarter. They messed up a 2-for-1. He gave up a turnover. They gave up a 3. And I never seen, like, Joe just tracked him and walked with him to the bench. And then Tatum became a monster afterwards, right? So my point of that is, like, he's pushing all the right buttons right now. Whether he's a weirdo, not, like whatever the crazy stuff that he does, ultimately what you need to do, and this is all coaching in the NBA, you need to get the most out of your guys. That most might be 1%, and that makes a massive difference. He's getting that from Tatum, and I think he's getting a lot of buy-in from the rest of the guys as well.
So I want to get you out of here on this. Like, obviously, you played on the Ubuntu Celtics. You work for the Celtics now. You're kind of affiliated with the Celtics, and that's good. But you also are a part of a special era or a special situation, I would say, in your Nets time. And I think that East Rutherford, New Jersey stadium is going to get lost to the NBA memory hole. But can you tell people what it was like having to play in that dump for years? Yeah. That backwater, that literally, I grew up in Brooklyn and Queens. I don't know a single person from the city of East Rutherford, New Jersey. It might as well not exist on the map. Y'all had to play actual NBA games in that freaking place. Can you bring the listener into what it was like playing in an actual, literal NBA backwater?
Yeah. So you remember I went to USC and we played at the sports arena.
Sure.
And that's like, that's a real dump. It smelled like elephant piss every day. So, which I loved it, by the way. Listen, my life is not glamorous, right? I'm from junior college, not recruited, cut from 8th grade and all this stuff, right? So I just think for me, like, it's appropriate that I had to like fight and claw and half the people there. But I also hitched on with Jason Kidd and we eventually turned that place out, right?
Yep.
And once there's people there and you're playing basketball, it's a dump walking in, might be a dump walking out. But when you're in those places, you're just hooping, right? And I love my time there. And, it's just like winning cures all, makes all dumps go away and whatever, right?
Fair.
And I remember those times and, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about the NBA. You think you don't know until you live it, right? But like the IQ of Kenyon Martin teaching me everything I need to know about being a pro and how to guard people, right? And it wasn't like he was doing it like as a let me take you under my wing. He was just being real with it, right? Or Jay Kidd, I blew a coverage and he cut me with his eyes. Like all those moments shaped me into who I am, right? And I learned from those moments. So like I just think for me, it's all part of the story.
I love that.
Of my life, right? And that's what I think about that time. When I think about New Jersey, I don't know if I'm the same player if I didn't play in that dump. I only know one way, right?
Grimy. Get it out the mud.
No doubt.
Man, White Mamba, thank you for coming on with us. Tell the people where they can find your excellent work, man. I appreciate you being on with us today.
7 to 10 in the morning on Sirius XM NBA Radio. I got an amazing co-host in Frank Isola. Working with you, I just could tell already that it's best time is getting great co-hosts and working together is great. And then we're on the Celtic broadcast. If you guys happen to be in the Northeast area and you hear this, you can watch it on NBC Sports Boston and not on that other station tonight. That's all I ask.
Much appreciated, Scout. Thank you for being on with us, bro.
You got it. Take it easy.